Okay, so normally I'm used to ad-libbing, swearing, putting all flamboyant pictures and things up on the screen, but I won't do that this evening. I've actually written a completely new piece of, I don't know, whatever it might be. I've written a new speech for you tonight, if it could be called a speech. This is who I am. Generally, I'm known by most as the Bipolar businessman. I've hit nearly 1 million people with my story over the last 2 years, partly through meeting Jeff McDonald and the likes and many things. So, this basically is something I found online quite a long time ago, and I just always bust it out because it just fundamentally sums me up. You know, I didn't even change the name Tom, they just knew. And I felt like this from a very young age. I was a twin, and my twin passed away, unfortunately, and so I've always kind of felt like there was a disconnect and like I was kind of missing something. So I guess my whole life has been this search for something. As Georgie mentioned, I've just rebranded my company, and we're called the Kingsman London, hence the snazzy attire. That's how I roll, except for the weekends, obviously, where you can call me Deirdre. But that said, I've got a new video where I've decided that I don't really care what anybody thinks about me. I'm a recommendation-only business now, so if you don't like the fact that I've got a mental health issue, you can jog on. So effectively, I've blended my brand and my ethos behind the brand and who I am and what I do into this snazzy corporate video. Far from corporate, though. Oh. Okay, so that's a technical problem. That's why I don't really use technology for anything, but this is down to the guy upstairs, so...
All my life, I've wondered who I was. Losing my twin brother early on, you sort of feel like someone's stolen a part of you. Perhaps Hades has your soul. Then as you grow, you try to find yourself. You try to put yourself back together. The more you learn, the more you evolve. A life of martial arts and motorbikes, islands and jungles, always living symbiotic within my own sphere of adrenaline, never quite finding my fit. When they told me I had a bipolar disorder, I didn't know what that meant for me. But let me tell you what I've learned. It means I love, I cry, I care about humanity and ethics. Every ounce of my being shaped into an existence that's about more than just myself. A more human level of perception. I'm about people over profits, relationships not defined by social restraints or condemnations. When I travel in London, I see colour. I see shape in architecture. I see the cobbles in the alley, the ageing hipster with his handlebar moustache and turn-up denims. I see the chef in his whites in the doorway taking in the morning catch. I see energy. I've always loved clothing. The variety of style, the fabric, the cut. Even as a teen, my friends going out in their t-shirts and myself in a waistcoat and tie to offset the jean. And now I get to help define how others perceive themselves. I get to bestow on them the strength that I have found in the garments they adorn themselves with, in the way they operate. In breaking down stigma, I encourage the hospitality and retail markets to remove the veil of their shrouded vanity and remind themselves of their own truth. And in doing so, I've finally found out who I really am. The Kingsman.
A lot of walking. Trim some of that out. That's the first sort of release of that. So get rid of some of the narcissism. That'll be fine. Okay, so I thought a lot about what I was going to be presenting here today, just in honour of Jeff being back at Unilever, etc. And in telling my story over the last number of years against the likes of Jeff McDonald and beyond, I've managed to reach nearly a million people through my writing. Never one for being overly PC, telling it how it really is. I love saying the things that others don't, as many of you will know from my blog. Let me take a Sneaky sip of water that I'm not supposed to have on stage, but, you know. It's the way we roll. Okay. Never one for being overly PC, telling it how it really is. I love saying the things others don't. But in pushing boundaries, I find that the pleasure in taking someone to task does not outweigh the pleasure of motivating someone to change or discover themselves. It's not so pleasing to right a wrong as it is to stand in front of you and project my energy. Harness my energy for every one of you. Energy that within me, running so fast, is a curse sent to cripple me as I'm overburdened by it. But if controlled and directed, shared, it might do some good and maybe even change the way that you perceive the world, the way that you perceive people, or the way that you perceive yourself. Everything starts with oneself. A decorated Navy Admiral, William McRaven, said, "If you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another. And by the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. And if, by chance, you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made, that you made. And a made bed gives encouragement that tomorrow will be better." Now, it is a fair point. And I believe that if we want to change the world, we should start looking deep within ourselves and ask ourselves who we really are. Inside all of us, there are two voices. One voice that wants to uplift, that wants us to expand, the voice that wants us to grow. And then there's the other voice, the voice that holds us back, that makes us lazy, makes us complacent, the voice that restricts us from our potential. We all know what voice we should be following, but we don't. All we're really fighting for is time. Many of us lose the people most important to us because we don't value their time as much as our own. And often we don't recognise how important someone is until they're gone. But the world doesn't have to be like that. This is a journey of discovery. It's a journey of evolution. It's not about money, houses or cars, the capitalist dream turned nightmare as we slave and sweat anxiety for someone far away sunning themselves. It's in our taking of time. It's in measuring a person by what's inside their heart. Each of us has our own destiny. Defining ourselves by what we are not is often the first step that leads us to knowing who we really are. So who are you? When I have a dark day, when I lose who I am and I feel that I can't push myself forward, I remember this. It is not our light. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We're all meant to shine as children do. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. This mindset can shift my world in an instant. That's why I'm here today. And in being probed by Jeff and the ladies as to what my focus would be for this evening, I said I'd like to focus on motivation and discovery, because A, it was suitably ambiguous, and B, I hadn't written it yet. and because I'd recently been inspired by a speech from Tim Minchin and his 9 life lessons, which I encourage all of you to go and search out on Google. So I felt that in reverence of Tim and my symbiotic spirit, I would share with you an amalgamation of minds, as I like to call it, in the hope that when you leave here today, you might be redirected in the spirit of change, a shift in your motivation as a human being. Just over 10 years ago, I was stood on a train track waiting to take my own life. But when you stop putting pressure on yourself, when you stop judging yourself, when you stop measuring yourself against how a pre-prescribed society defines you, then you free yourself. When we're born, they would have you learn that as we grow, you must at first be taught. This happens first when you attend school, and they train you how to form an opinion, but not necessarily to have one. We're taught how to pass exams, what logic is right, as prescribed by our textbook. And then on to university, where they give you a loan you'll spend your life paying off, however rudimental the course may be. Then you're thrust into the world of work, fighting to clear the debt so you can find a mate, buy a house, subsequently gaining more debt. So you must further work until you are tired and depressed, and eventually you have kids. And when kids come along, hoping better for them, you want to see them do the things you wish you'd done with your time if you had your chance again. And then you grow old and you die, defined by vocation or wealth, just before all that you've earned is stripped of a percentage before it's handed on. And so it goes around, this meaning of life, until the cycle is broken by the activist within us. We're taught how to pout and how to take selfies, how to feel insignificant if we don't achieve the right level of likes. We're told that what foods we should eat, as long as we purchase them from the leading brand, and luckily they also teach you what to wear. It's all in vogue, as they chastise you for pushing boundaries because of your accent or tattoos or whatever else it might be. But this doesn't have to be you. I believe in the power of hope. I believe in the power of one person, a Lennon, a Dylan, a McDonald. Longer term. One person can change the world by giving people hope. So if you want to change the world, start each day with a task completed. Know that life is not fair and that you will fail often, but never, ever give up. Through my time to date with Minds at Work since around March 2016, I love the way I've sort of casually slipped in. It was exactly March 2016. I've got bipolar disorder and a photographic memory. I've changed more nimbly and readily since then because I've seen others change in their own way, absorbing and thriving through their evolution. I've helped people to remedy the issues in themselves that resonate within me, which has in turn made me reflect on how I approach the world. If you make someone else happy, you might find you get some of that positive energy back in return. Rocky Balboa said, "Let me tell you something you already know." And I paraphrase here to sort of avoid any future atrocious accent. The world's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. Nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you've got to be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying that you're not where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. You're better than that. We're all better than that. So when you make up tomorrow, make your bed. Exercise. A healthy body leads to a healthy mind. Be a teacher. Pass on what you learn and inspire others. Define yourself by what you love, not what you don't like about the world you find yourself in. Respect those with less power than yourself, not because you don't know what status they may serve in the future, but because it's the right thing to do. To honour everyone that crosses your path without judgment or preconception. And don't rush. You don't already need to know what you might do for the rest of your life. Don't panic. Life is best filled with learning as much as you can, about as much as you can, taking pride in whatever you do, having compassion, sharing ideas, exercising, being enthusiastic. And then there's love and travel and wine and sex and art and kids and giving and motorbikes and mountain climbing and all the other attributes to life that we so enjoy. And while this may just seem like another pretentious arsehole telling you what to do or how to think, remember, I never said I was there, and I never said that I'd made it. I'm on that journey too. You are the only author to the book of your life. All I'm saying is, if you get a chance along the way, perhaps help somebody else write theirs. Thank you very much.